But in that first 6 months, you shared the story, this challenge, how it ended up being a blessing in disguise. What were the biggest struggles thereafter for you as a first-time entrepreneur in the first 6 months?
Really just kind of learning business itself. And a lot of people, say you could go to school for these things and learn these things, but I really don't think you can. And maybe I'm wrong in that, but I really think that learning with experience is pretty much the best way to do it. And my dad always said something that stuck pretty well with me. And he always said that, the biggest lessons you'll ever learn are your most expensive ones.
Yeah.
And it's been true to this day, that quote. And
best way to learn a lesson is to fall on your face.
Yes, fall on your
Hurts.
face. Yes.
Don't do that again.
I know. And we've had quite a few of those, and pretty thankful for each one of them. So.
What's going on, restaurant owners? I want to tell you about the fun we're having and the connections we're making over at Restaurant Unstoppable Network. As a matter of fact, if you're enjoying the podcast, you're going to love the network because the network just mirrors what's happening on the podcast, but we're just going deeper and making connections. Not only am I connecting you with the leading restaurateurs on the podcast, I'm connecting you with the experts that they're going to become unstoppable. Just this week, the co-owners of Relish Bar and Restaurant in Houston, Texas joined us, and they brought their realtor with us, and we went deep into advice on site selection. We also had time to talk about tip pooling. It was great. You don't need to break the bank on restaurant coaching and consulting. All you truly need is peers, people who can reinforce that you are taking the next right best step, and access to an amazing network of the best. I can't wait to see you there. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, owner of Darlin's Diner, Taylor Swenning. Taylor, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I am so excited to be doing this today.
I'm
so thank
stoked.
you so much.
This is the first time ever in Restaurant Unstoppable history that I've been driving down the street, pull over to a random town. I found it on Harvest Host. Got here last night, like 6 o'clock. I was like, this is a cute ass town. Was walking around, walked up to Darlin's Diner when you were closed. I looked in the curb appeal. I looked and I was like, that's a happening cool spot. No offense to Flat Station. Is it Flat Station or
Flatonia?
Flatonia. Thank you very much. Between San Antonio and Houston, random place. Would never know it's there.
Halfway between each of them, and it's tiny, and you could miss it if you just kept on driving. But we're so glad that you stopped here.
Yeah, so. And I stopped in and I got breakfast this morning, trying to support the local businesses. That's part of the deal with Harvest Host is you have a place to park and stay, and in exchange you support whoever's hosting you. In this case, I feel like the town of Flatonia is hosting me.
Yeah,
Did I get it right that time?
Yeah, Flatonia.
I feel like that's such a like is that right? And had breakfast this morning. You walked up and you introduced yourself, and I had no idea. Like, I didn't even notice those best of awards behind you on the wall. Like, and I was like, oh my God, I just stumbled into a great opportunity for an interview. And that was literally like not even like 2 hours ago. Yeah. And here we are. Mics are set up. We're going to tell your story. So I'm stoked. This is really exciting. This
is a fun one. I'm very excited. I love when we get to even just share our story with anybody that comes through here, and hopefully get them to come back in and eat with us again. So.
And real quick, before we have you share your success quote, give us a snapshot. You have 3 businesses, right?
Yes.
So your primary, your first current business that you currently own is Darlin's Diner.
Darlin's Diner. Yeah.
What else do you have?
We have Sala de Sol, which is our boutique that we opened 2 years after opening the diner. And then 1 year after opening the diner, we opened up Lula's Loft. It's named after my 3-year-old daughter.
Oh, cool.
And that is our catering space upstairs where we once used to live. So
all in, you own 3 businesses today. Mm-hmm. You've sold a successful business. Yes. We're going to get into that. And all like with your portfolio, what is the total revenue you're doing?
Total revenue per year?
Yeah. Or if you're more comfortable sharing percentages, that's fine too. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Total revenue per year, 800.
800. And what is, of that 800, what is your percent profit?
20.
20% profit. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would, honestly, when we first were talking and you're like, oh, well, if you ever need guests, I was like, I don't know how you can do well in a small town like this. So I was like, and I wanted to be upfront with you. I'm like, I talk about numbers. Like, do you have good numbers? And not that I didn't think you did, but like, I just like to get that out into the universe before I put you on the spot. And I was really surprised, not because of the work you're doing, but because of where you are in a very small town. And
it is concerning, I would say, to some people, and thinking that small towns maybe be more on the downside of profitability, but it's really just a smaller scale is all it is.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love living in a small town. I've come from bigger cities and stuff. I wouldn't even say cities, but bigger towns. And I feel like here is where I'm meant to be. And I think what we're doing here in this town is bringing so much people from outside in, where this tiny little town needs that outside space of all the Houstons and Austins.
And I'm sure that's going to come out in your story, and I can't wait to get into it. Real quick, percent profit 20. What is your prime cost? 50%? I think you said.
Cost of goods?
Cost of goods and labor, I think you said.
50%, yeah.
And how's that split up between cost of goods and labor?
Cost of goods 20 and labor 30.
Awesome. So that's who we're talking to. Small town, breakfast diner, and you would never know this town existed unless you were forced off of the track to stay at your harvest host.
Or something.
Yeah, and that's how I stumbled here last night. So this is totally impromptu, and I'm stoked to get into it. Before we dive into more about who you are and how you got to where you are today, let's get that motivational, inspirational, ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
Success quote and mantra, Fleetwood Mac.
Ooh.
You can go your own way.
You can go your own way. Get into it. Why is that you're way better saying that.
Obviously I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac, huge Stevie Nicks fan, but whenever I owned a food truck, that was always the song that I thought, to be able to inspire people to go do their own thing, as opposed to even jumping into corporate world and stuff like that. Maybe it's not someone, in the successful business or successful restaurant industry that may be saying that, but Stevie Nicks, that's my girl.
But what does going your own way mean to you?
Going my own way, or going your own way, doing what you want to do for a career, where it isn't work anymore, and you're doing what you absolutely love to do, and showing up every day to your career, and it being nowhere near work, but so much fun and so wholesome. And there's not a single day that goes by. We have bad days, we have hard days, but every one of them is so important, to have. And we've enjoyed every single day here.
I hear going your own way, and what comes to my mind is freedom, agency, autonomy.
Yeah.
And that's our number one core value here at Restaurant Unstoppable is freedom. Freedom of purpose, freedom of relationships, freedom of time, freedom of money.
That's everything about owning your own business, which is awesome.
And the cool thing is, it isn't going to be no work, all fun all the time.
No.
But being able to have that autonomy, that agency to choose to do what calls to you. If you have the right why, you can deal with any how, right?
Absolutely.
And that is so powerful. It pulls you.
It almost takes our bad days and makes them like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, and I can't believe we made it through that. Or I can believe it because we've put the work in, but the work really isn't work to us. I say us, but really me at all. I really enjoy every single ounce of this.
And when we say what is success, I think that is success, is freedom.
Yes.
And that is the most valuable thing you could have.
It's more than just the money for me.
Right.
It is absolutely the freedom to do what I want to do on days that I'm not here, with my family. It's also the freedom to get to visit with all these wonderful people that come in here and learn about other people's stories. It's a big deal to me. So
you can go your own way.
You can go your own way.
I love it. Great way to get this thing started.
Yeah.
So where does it make sense to start sharing your story?
Yeah. I mean, really at the beginning, it's kind of a whirlwind, and it also happened so fast, I guess, within the last 6-7 years. I'm still young. I'm 29 years old. And it all started back when I was 18. I went to Texas A&M for construction science, and I was a freshman up in College Station, and did a first year doing that. Started working. You
were 18 when you were okay, that makes sense. Yeah, freshman. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Yeah, and then did the stuff where you would got the job in the construction industry, and they put me in sales because I'm a girl, and I was like, this is horrible.
I think you do amazing at sales, though. You're so personal.
I'm pretty good at sales, but selling tile was just not where I wanted to, start a career path. I want to
What was your vision? What was the thing that got you into construction?
My parents always built their own houses growing up, and they would build them for friends, and they're really good at it, and they're good at remodels and all that kind of stuff. My dad and I remodeled this entire building ourselves.
Dad is definitely, and you are talented.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of the field. I grew up in that field. I knew that I was good at it. I could be good at it. And then when I got into it, I was like, man, this just isn't for me.
What wasn't for you?
It just what I was selling. I wasn't in love with.
So the sales wasn't for you.
But it's not even just sales. I guess just like construction. I mean, they put me in this hard hat, and I was like, I don't look cute in this thing. I mean, I don't know. Just everything about it wasn't screaming like I could be passionate about this. You know, even though I do love remodeling and building and that sort of stuff. Because we did that here.
Well, I mean, the cool thing about the hospitality restaurant industry is that it encompasses so much.
Yeah.
It's not just food and beverage and service.
Not.
It's design.
Yeah.
It is owning property and building out that property.
It's branding. And that's where I really wanted to be. Branding is like so important to me, and creating this personality in something that you create. And that's what I wanted to do here, and let alone with even the food truck as well too. So
let's go back to that.
Yeah.
So you are growing into your womanhood. You're becoming more self-aware. Your frontal lobe starting to round off.
Barely at that point.
You're figuring out what you want.
Yeah.
When did you have the idea for the food truck?
So it was my sophomore year, and I remember I think it was my mom who had texted me a picture of this food truck that was for sale in New Braunfels, which is where I'm from.
Texas.
Yep, New Braunfels, Texas. And it was by an old owner that I used to work for. I used to work in high school for this little boutique where we sold clothes and just cute stuff. It was awesome. Home decor, that kind of thing. And the owner of the town, Green, Texas, tiny little town inside.
Love that town.
Yep, that's where I'm from.
Such a cool town.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Worked there my entire high school.
Oldest line dancing bar or
oldest bar in Texas.
Oldest bar in Texas.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Green Hall.
Yep.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time there in high school, growing up really my whole childhood. And the lady that I was working for, she was selling this food truck. The owner of the town wouldn't let her sell food off of the property. So my mom texted me.
The owner of the town?
There's one owner of the town.
The person owns the town?
There's one person that owns the town.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He's recently passed, but yeah, there's one person that owned the town.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
But this person wouldn't let
the owner of the boutique sell food off of that property.
Got it.
That owner of that town owned all of the buildings, so everyone that was in them was renting them.
But Green is in the greater New Braunfels.
Yeah, it's like the historic district of New Braunfels.
So it's this property that this person owned in New Braunfels.
Yes.
It's called Green.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. That historical district area is what. But they, the girl, she put up for sale. It was called Holy Crepe.
Okay.
And she put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and my mom sent me a picture of it, and I was like, that's so cool. And I remember I was at my boyfriend's fraternity house, and she had sent me a picture of it, and I stepped outside and I just stared at it, and I was like, this could be so cool. And I don't know what it was, but I was like, I have got to do this. I mean, whatever it takes. Like, this looks fun. This looks like me. This looks like something that I can do and I could have fun with, and I can learn and grow, and hopefully one day do something like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're 19. Did you finish your major in
construction science?
So you stuck with it even though it wasn't really
Yeah. I if I knew that I was going to be going my own way, doing my own thing, degree is just a degree.
Right.
And so I wasn't going to spend extra time in college whenever I could get out, as fast as possible. I graduated within the 4 years and was out as soon as I could be. Won't say my GPA was very high, but there's reasons to why that happened.
Did we mention it was Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
I mean, it's not an easy school to get into.
It's not.
So.
My freshman year, I went to Blinn, which is kind of like their...
like prep school?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the community college that's like in the town, adjacent to it. And a lot of people go there to do their basics, and then they transfer in.
That's cool.
And that's what I did, because I didn't get in automatically.
So you get this it's trailer.
It's a trailer, yeah. It's a 8 foot by 5 foot. This thing is tiny.
Okay.
We get it in, and originally I'm thinking crepes. It's called Holy Crepe. I thought, how cool is that? And then they've got these crepe. You know what crepes are?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I may be wrong when saying this, but like a French pancake or whatever. It's really thin and it's all about the insides.
They roll them up though, right?
They kind of roll them up or put them into like a little triangle. Some of them
Yeah.
have like meats and cheeses and some have like fruits and stuff. But whenever we're making it, I was like, this is so expensive to make. Why
was it expensive?
Meats, cheeses, and all the fruits and everything that went inside of it cost astronomical for what a food truck item should cost. And to me, I was like, this doesn't necessarily seem profitable. And, when we ran numbers, we were like, I don't know about this.
So how long had you owned it before you started coming to this realization?
A week.
Okay. So in the first week, you realized this isn't a good business
I
model.
never even went out publicly with it.
Did you have like business acumen? Like, did you have a mentor, or is this just instinct?
So my parents have always owned their own businesses. Their parents have owned their own businesses. I think it's almost like ingrained in my soul a little bit. But I think
your own way
in my I just think it's a little bit. I think it's ingrained. Yeah, but it was definitely an instinct of like this doesn't feel right. Also, it wasn't something that I created. And it was really big, and I would have a lot more pride in something that I created from the ground up as opposed to taking someone else's idea and rolling with it.
Yeah. So what were your biggest challenges getting started? Like, where'd you get the money to buy this thing? Were you putting money away?
No. I took out a personal loan with my dad.
How much did you need?
$100,000.
And he co-signed? $100,000?
I needed $100,000.
For a trailer?
Well, that was all the ingredients. We had to prefab a fire suppression system onto this trailer. So this trailer, because it wasn't frying anything. But back up a little bit. When we were thinking, what can we do that's not crepes, but can be something similar and cheaper? Donuts. It's like, why would we not sell donuts?
So when you made the decision to not do crepes, it was 1 week after. Had you already purchased it, or
purchased the trailer, and we were just like in the driveway practicing making crepes.
Okay,
and
so you're gonna do crepes and donuts? Was that the
plan?
plan?
No. It was supposed to be Holy Crepe, and we were like, they're not cute. They're not. This is someone else's idea. It's not even mine. It's not necessarily very profitable. Like there was just like a bunch of things lining up that it just wasn't it. It wasn't clicking.
Yeah. You came to this realization after you had purchased it. So how did you know that you were going to need fire suppression?
Okay, yeah. So we went and put in. We're like, okay, what are we gonna? What am I gonna sell? And because whatever is coming out of this trailer, and it doesn't matter what I'm selling as long as 1, it is profitable, 2, it's cute, and 3, it's just like branded around myself and what I can do with it. And donuts is what it came out to. So we went and we got the trailer. My mom helped me like build the logo, and it's called Donut Darlin, and that's when we started that. So when we went and took the trailer and got it rewrapped with our new logo and all this stuff, we pulled out the hot plates, sold them on Facebook Marketplace, and put in this very expensive fryer that made mini donuts with the hole in the middle. And the funny story about this was it came from Germany in this like wooden crate when we ordered it, and like all of the instructions were written in German on how to use this thing. And when we opened up, we put it in there. You literally put donut mix into a hopper, and it like pushed out all these mini donuts, and they would float down this little line. It would flip it, and then it would float down, and it would pop them into a little tray.
All in the trailer.
All in the trailer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was small. It was probably about yay big.
Okay. So you're traveling with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You knew. I think it's smart that you got 100. Like, how much did the trailer with before doing any work? 20,000. Mm-hmm. So you knew that you needed operational capital. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong when they're just getting started. They see, oh, I need to buy that. What's the rent, or what's like, what do I have to, put, what money down do I need? And they don't think about the runway thereafter of what else they might need to get going.
There's so much more than just like the asset itself.
So were you thinking that like you just are going to, how much can I get? Like what's a reasonable loan? $100,000 that?
Yeah. So when we totaled it all up, well, towards the end, so I didn't necessarily have to, between my dad and I's agreement, I didn't necessarily have to pay it back until we knew what the total cost was going to be before I started operating.
Got it.
So he was really helpful in that, and I'm so blessed to have that kind of like support.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily offered to everybody in the world.
there's this weird stigma around privilege.
Yeah.
And it's like, privilege is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you have privilege and you choose not to use it, that's more of a shame than actually leveraging your privilege and using your privilege to create something and create opportunity for other. It ripples out.
It does. And it wasn't a give me. There's interest. I mean, my dad is one of the most amazing people, one of my hugest inspirations in my life. And but you know, he's going to do exactly what the bank would do.
Right.
And you know, he looks at my credit and he looks at all these things and says, like, really what he helps me with is not being able to, not having to put down that down payment, you know, but to be able to pay it back. And there's a really cool story with it is, kind of fast forward 6 months into the business, I paid him back $100,000 in $1 bills.
6 months in, $1 bills. Was that all cash that you pulled in for the business?
I had to go to like 6 different banks to get
wild.
$100,000 in one.
19 years old. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. So what were your biggest challenges? What was the biggest hurdle in that first 6 months?
Yeah, I have it. It is crazy. I just posted this story on my social media because it's such a funny one. And looking back, it's like if this did not, at the time it was catastrophic, but if it did not happen, it wouldn't have launched us to where we were. So that fryer was $4,500 from Germany. This thing was expensive. The entire business was riding on this fryer. We hook it up. I hook it up to my personal, Jeep Grand Cherokee is what I started pulling this thing with. And
so cute.
It was adorable. I can't wait to. I hope you post pictures of it because this thing was the coolest thing in the whole world. So we, I'm doing donuts. Then you go to the city and you try to get the permit. And they're like, yo, you need a fire suppression system. I'm like, what's that? Okay, so I start looking at it. Then I go to a prefab place who can put a fire suppression and really cram it into this tiny, tiny trailer. And they did it, made it look the way it should. They did it right. So then I go back to the city of College Station. I'm like, yo, I need my permit because I already have an event booked and I'm going to this event. So I'm getting this permit. And they said, okay, we just got to discharge the fire suppression system in front of a fire marshal in order for you to receive your permit. And I remember I skipped a final to go and do this test.
Which tells us where your priority is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I skipped a final to go get my permit. And this fire marshal shows up. Well, the company who had installed the fire suppression system, I guess, typically they're supposed to install a empty tank of Ansel. That's the green goo that puts out grease fires. They're supposed to install an empty tank for the test. They installed a full tank and didn't screw it on tightly because they thought, well, for the test, we're not going to screw this on completely tight, unless you need to put an empty tank in to test. So there was a huge miscommunication, and I'm standing there outside the trailer, and this fire marshal goes in, clicks the system, and it explodes. And I'm not telling you, it didn't just spray Ansel all over every square inch. It shot 20 feet into the air and covered like almost half a parking lot of Ansel grease and Ansel.
Oh my God. Keep going. Sorry.
It flooded the fryer. Oh. It flooded the $4,500 fryer. It took out every doily. That's what we would serve these on. And that's kind of where we got the Darlin's Diner logo from. It's kind of part of the brand itself, but flooded the doilies, the donut mix, the coffee cups, the coffee makers,
All in, how bad? What did it cost to get back?
I don't know, $10,000. $10,000. Yeah.
Restaurant owners, what if I told you there was a way to lower your prime cost by $1,000 and get paid $1,000 on top of that? If it sounds too good to be true, it's not. Restaurant Systems Pro is offering that deal right now to 10 of my lucky listeners. Listen closely. Join the Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge, and if you successfully improve your prime cost by $1,000 or more compared to the same 30 days the year prior, they will pay you $1,000. Find the link in the show notes titled Restaurant Systems Pro 30-Day Prime Cost Challenge. Click that link and get signed up today. Only 10 people are going to get approved into this program. Get on it.
Did you have to replace anything?
Oh, okay. Well, so I'm like, yo, I've got an event tomorrow. I'm freaking out. I'm in tears.
I was going to say, needless to say, you did not make your event. Did you?
No, I did.
Wow.
Okay, ready? Okay, so this is what made us Donut Darlin. And I was crying. I was freaking out. I wanted an apology from the entire fire department of College Station. It was, the fire marshal came out to my house to apologize to me, in person. And I felt so bad. And I felt bad for him because he didn't know. I didn't know. I'm obviously 19 years old and I can't control my emotions.
Right.
And so I am just mad.
Yeah.
And so I'm crying to the city and I'm like, how am I going to do my event? They're like, we'll give you a temporary permit to do this event. You need to have these extinguishers, and you can get them at Walmart.
Where do you get so you had the extinguishers, you didn't have the fire depression, you didn't get that resolved?
I didn't get the fire suppression system resolved in time, obviously. But I had a K extinguisher, which is also another one you have to have for grease fires.
Yeah.
And then you have obviously the ABC, which is the red one. So the Walmart was a 24-hour Walmart. And we went, and I'm like, how am I going to make donuts for this event tomorrow? And I start looking in like the cooking aisle, and there's these hot skillets, and they're about 2 inches deep, and they run off of 110 outlets. And I went and I got an ice cream scoop, a little 2-ounce ice cream scoop, and we made donut holes. And from then on out, we were a donut hole company. And what's so crazy about this is those fryers, or really skillets, like skillet fryers, they cost $25. Whereas if I needed to go replace one burnt out, or, one got messed up or something, I could replace it for $25 as opposed to a $4,500 machine that took 3 weeks to come in from Germany.
I'm looking at photos now. I'm trying to find. So you spent $4,500 on a donut machine. You canned it, and then you became a donut hole.
Canned it within 12 hours.
Wow. And I think that's what's cool about this is operationally less expensive.
Yep.
And it's more niche. Where how many donuts companies
well,
are
whenever
there?
you look out and you see these mini donut companies and everyone's using this little mini fryer that does the mini donuts with a hole in the middle, and then you set yourself apart to where you're doing donut holes, it doesn't necessarily seem from the outside world like that's not that big a deal, but it was, because it launched us into weddings where we were making these huge towers of donut holes.
I'm looking at some of these towers now.
Yeah, it was it set us apart drastically to where people knew what Donut Darlin was. And it was a catastrophic day that made the business what it was. So
yeah, that's so really cool. And I mean, just like unique selling proposition, like how for like every 100 donut company, there might be one donut hole company.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's the first time I've heard of a donut hole company.
Well, it wasn't meant to be that way, but it ended up that way. So.
But like it like a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so cool. Operational cost down, unique selling proposition.
Yeah.
Blue ocean effect immediately. Yeah. So cute.
Yeah, I know. I know. These donuts are so fun. We did so our best selling one was like our mimosa donut, and what it was like an orange infused donut hole with like a cream cheese icing on top, and we put champagne in the icing itself, and it was so good, and it was like refreshing, even though donut, you would never think of like a refreshing donut, but it was, and it was like our best seller. It was so much, it was so cool.
And then who was your target market?
At that time, it was, well, when I first got started, I thought, let's go do these festivals and these events and that sort of thing. I never wanted to just set up on the side of the road and just sell to anybody that walked up. That didn't necessarily seem like a good use of my time,
Was there a type of event you were looking for? Like, was there a market that you were chasing at these events?
Just weddings, birthdays. Well, private events would be weddings and birthdays, things along those lines. I got into a sorority at A&M, and then we were doing bigger things. It was sorority and fraternity parties. It was huge philanthropy fundraisers. It started getting into things for Texas A&M themselves, like for the school. And then it launched us into Chip and Joanna Gaines, and we were up in Waco doing Magnolia Silos events.
Wow.
And we got invited.
How long did it take you to get into that circle?
A year.
And who was Chip and Joanna?
Chip and Joanna Gaines, they pretty much own Magnolia Network on
massive entrepreneurs.
Massive entrepreneurs. And they started with Fixer Upper, which was on, I guess not the Home Network, or I forgot what they started on.
Was it Travel or H&G? G&A?
Oh, yeah. HGTV.
Yeah.
That's where they started with Fixer Upper, and then they kind of got their own network off of it. They pretty much made Waco theirs, and then, other than Baylor, University,
right.
but they're huge people in Waco area. So
in the country.
Yeah.
Everybody
everyone knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I got to know her personally.
That was after a year.
I
want to get into that and how, I'm sure she kind of influenced and coached, and maybe I don't make assumptions. But in that first 6 months, you shared this story, this challenge, how it ended up being a blessing in disguise. What were the biggest struggles thereafter for you as a first-time entrepreneur in the first 6 months?
Really just kind of learning business itself. And a lot of people, say you could go to school for these things and learn these things, but I really don't think you can. And maybe I'm wrong in that, but I really think that learning with experience is pretty much the best way to do it. And my dad always said something that stuck pretty well with me. And he always said that, the biggest lessons you'll ever learn are your most expensive ones.
Yeah.
And it's been true to this day, that quote. And
best way to learn a lesson is to fall on your face.
Yes, fall on your
Hurts.
face. Yes.
Don't do that again.
I know. And we've had quite a few of those, and pretty thankful for each one of them.
What are some of the biggest face plants you've had in the first year before meeting?
I would say that one in itself. Another one being, so I got in to Texas A&M invited us to be a part of to have concession stands inside the stadium, which was huge. I never thought I would make it that big. I was like, yo, this is crazy. We're about to have concession stands inside the stadium.
You're 19 years old.
Yeah, I'm freaking out. I think maybe
everyone listening to this, just pause for a second.
I think it might have been 20 at that point. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to.
You're an old lady. Never mind.
Oh yeah, and I just couldn't believe it, and it was going to scale us drastically, and I wasn't ready for it. Never have been ready for these big, massive leaps within the business, or within my journey of owning a business. I'm never necessarily ready for the leap, but I take it anyway, and I'm going to learn along the way, and just wing it. Pretty much just wing it, and just hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and it's worked out every single time, and I don't know why, but it.
Just go and suck a little less every day.
Suck a little less, go. Don't make excuses. Just do it. Wake up and work. But I got into Texas A&M University's concession stands. And we had 2 of them inside the stadium. One of them was a trailer position outside where we would park the trailer during games, and what they had is their Pepsi fan zone. And basically it was just where the band came in, everyone's hooping and hollering, and we're right there selling donuts, smack dab. The line's 100 people long. And then I had a third one inside. And this one was a partnership. Don't necessarily want to say who.
Yeah, but you don't have to mention. Just the lesson learned from.
Lesson learned. This is my first partnership and my last. And I've never been one for partnerships. I thought might take a little risk, see what happens. But basically, for that concession in itself, we did kind of a collab of both of our businesses to make one, dish that was pretty cool. It was really cool what we were selling. But he was the one getting the checks from the school, and I never got a check.
Oh,
yeah.
Ouch.
So lots of inventory. I was the one who did all the payroll. I paid all the employees, so it was kind of a double loss.
Yeah.
I paid all the staff as well as.
What was the lesson here?
Don't have partners.
Yeah. Or if you do, make sure that there's an agreement clearly spelled out, that you do your due diligence to put things on paper.
Yeah, there needs to be things on paper, because me being so young too, maybe I'm just I was naive of it.
Yeah.
Just trusting of people. And my husband's always told me that I trust too much in people, and I think
trust is important.
Yeah.
Right. Trust is, there's a book out there, The Speed of Trust, by the son of Stephen R. Covey, or maybe, I don't know which one of them. They're both Stephen.
Yeah.
They're both Covey. I can't remember which one as they are, but his son, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, wrote The Speed of Trust. And I think trust is super important, because things happen fast when you have trust.
Yeah.
But you still have to protect yourself.
Yeah, I never did that.
Yeah.
And I guess part of my way of doing what I've done is pretty much just go for it and either, thrive in the successes or, fumble underneath, a huge mistake and just live the consequences, whether they're good or bad.
Yeah.
That one was rough. But we're here. It doesn't matter.
How much of a hit was it for you?
It was a huge hit.
Like, can you share a number?
40,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how long did this partnership last?
One football season.
One football season. That's a hit. But
for 20 years old, that was a hit.
Yeah, that's a hit. You mentioned that you paid your dad off in the first 6 months, $100,000 of singles.
Yeah.
A stack.
I put it in a briefcase for Christmas.
That's cool.
It was crazy.
Were you paying yourself, or was that $100,000 worth of profit?
At that time, I never necessarily wrote myself a check or anything.
Well, you were living at school. You didn't have any liabilities.
No. But I had my car payment and stuff like that. So I'm sure there was a ton of expenses that just personal expenses that came just straight off the top. But whenever I was able to count and I had it all.
What kind of revenue were you doing, like monthly revenue?
Anywhere from 60,000.
60,000 a month,
and
you're selling
donuts. Yes.
What were your margins on that? I have to know.
Insane. They were sitting at like 80-85% profit on donuts.
And who?
So if you want to open up a profitable business, get into donuts.
Yeah,
dude.
It might not be the healthiest thing. There's trends moving away from people eating tons of donuts, but
yeah,
there is money in it.
There's money in it, and it was money in the events.
Yeah.
The festivals were something that got our name out there. That was more of like, hey, look at us.
Kind of a perfect storm because you had these connections as a student. It looks good on Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Hey, look at us. Our students are like successful. Like, come here.
Yeah. There was at one time, it got big enough. I think this was my maybe my senior year, and they called, the university had called and said, hey, we want to do this entrepreneurial seminar, and I was like, they said, do you want to speak at it? And I said, of course. Like, how many people? And they're like, I don't know. Sometimes we have anywhere from I thought it was going to be the size of a class, and the classes I was in at construction, in the construction science department, I mean, our classes were like 30, 40 people. And I was like, easy. I can come speak at that for sure. And I'm hungover and I show up
at the symposium.
Yeah. I show up and I look at the auditorium and I'm like, no.
So where's my little break-off session going to be?
300 people showed up to listen to me speak about entrepreneurship and starting a business and how to learn from my mistakes, as well as give me some of their ideas and pretty much ask my opinion on it, which I don't think I was qualified to give my opinion on anybody's ideas, but it was so interesting and so rewarding to know that people were inspired by what we had created there. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So a year in, are things scaling? How many years total were you with?
4
years.
Yeah.
A year in, you're killing it. You meet, I don't know, what was this a mentor of yours? Would you call Joanne a mentor?
No.
Okay.
No. She's busy.
Yeah.
No. I would say the only mentor I've had in my life would be my dad.
Okay.
Yeah. He's just really good at business, and he's a pretty down to earth person when it comes to business and learning from mistakes and stuff. And I really take his word for pretty much anything that he's ever done. I would say, I mean, I call him a dad. He's not my mentor. He's my dad. But if I had to choose one in my life, it'd be him for sure.
What were the biggest lessons he taught you up to this point in your career? Not this point being today, but up to this point in your story that we're sharing.
I mean, just doing things honestly and doing things with more purpose than the money themselves. And really, I mean, that quote that he always said that stuck with me was, most expensive lessons are the ones you'll remember and you'll learn from. But doing things right the first time, as opposed to spending, shit tons of money to replace and fix and this and that. My parents have always done things very right the first time, and it's saved them a lot of money in the long run. And I think that's pretty important.
What's that quote? If you can't afford to do it right the first time, what makes you think you'll be able to afford to do it a second time?
That's pretty much it. I've never heard that, but that's exactly right.
Yeah. So about a year in, you I mean, you're discovered by Joanne. What's his name again?
Chip Gaines.
Chip Gaines. What was that relationship like? If it wasn't mentor-mentee, what was it?
No. It was more so they would invite us up to do kind of like their festivals. And then towards the end of it, they asked us to be inside their... so in Waco, they have kind of like the Magnolia Silos. And it's kind of this hub of a spot that they've created in this town. And it's around these silos. And there's shopping. And there's this kind of like massive food court with a bunch of fun games and stuff in the middle, and they invited us to be,
a vendor,
not just a vendor, but like stuck in there, like a full-time vendor.
Okay, so like a brick and mortar almost, but like a permanent spot.
With
but still a trailer.
It's still a trailer, yeah, because there was probably 5 or 6 of them around the whole courtyard, and this courtyard's massive. This thing's big. I thought about it. Wasn't necessarily a huge fan of Waco itself. I don't know, it just didn't feel like me, and I also didn't want to coattail off of somebody.
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 hour drive from New Braunfels.
Yeah. I just didn't want, that was her success. I didn't want my success to be riding off of someone else's.
Right.
So.
But you did it.
Oh, I just did her events.
Okay.
They invited us to be there permanently.
Got it.
And I said it, love the idea, but different direction. So
4 years, take me to like a point of evolution for you, like the next point of evolution where you take it up a notch.
Yeah. So it was, we had just got invited to be a part of Formula One, and that was a super fun event. Not necessarily the most profitable. They definitely take a huge chunk off the top, but something that I always said, this will be an experience that like I have got to do, whether we make a ton of money or not. I think this would just be the coolest experience in the world. And we're going to get to meet people not necessarily just from Texas or just from the surrounding areas or surrounding states. It would be like around the entire world. And we did. And we went, and it was loud, and it was so fun. And I had a huge crew of staff we were just cranking donuts for
what year? How far into the operation was this?
That was my last year. That was, 2019.
So now you're like an old lady.
Now I'm an old lady. I'm a senior in high school. Or a senior in college. I'm sorry.
You're still going to school while running a business. That is nuts. You're scaling the business. How many?
Yeah. What's funny is my mom had mentioned, she goes, you're doing all this business stuff. You should tack on a business minor.
Or like some type of like entrepreneurial thing.
Well, so I tried it. I applied, I got into some business minor classes, and then I failed because I didn't go because I was busy running the trailer. So
I in School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah. So I ended up taking one class in construction science. I took it 3 separate times, 3 separate semesters. And I remember the dean, not necessarily the dean, but like the president of our school, because the dean was over architecture and construction science, and there was a couple engineering programs in there as well too. But the president of construction science was like, Taylor, knock it off with this donut stuff. Like, go to class, go get a real job, all of these things. And I remember just crying in her office because she was just doubting me and all these things. And at the time I was so hurt. I was like, how could she say that to me?
How much money were you making at this point?
Oh man. It's so hard to even...
Was this conversation as a senior?
This conversation was as a junior, because there was she was really upset with me for failing a class twice.
I mean, I'm surprised. Honestly, what's going through my mind is like, why are you wasting your time and money in school when you found something you love? You're successful. My
parents told me I will go to school for 4 years.
Yeah. So it was a backup plan. Well, it wasn't. It sounds
school was a backup plan, but I will say I have spoke to my parents, since then, and they're like, my daughter. I have a daughter now and a son. Are they going to go off to college? You're going to send them to A&M, and it's like, at this point, I don't even know if college is going to be a thing. Like,
well, the world's changing. In your parents' defense, that is what you did. That was the path to success. Yeah. But the world has changed a lot.
It has, even in the last few years. I totally understand college for things that need degrees. But I think it was freshman year that I realized that I ain't working for nobody.
Yeah, you want to be a doctor? Go get a degree.
Go get a degree.
Yeah, before you kill somebody.
Yeah, but it wasn't for me, but I stuck it out, I had to, but And I loved it. I loved college. College was like a fun experience too.
What was your best year operationally with this concept?
The last year, we were just getting, the last year I had about a year and a half of booked out events,
Wow.
Of private events.
Wow.
So, and at that point I was like, man, I'm living in hotels. I barely got out of college with I remember it was the week before I graduated, I got the email from the school that said, if you don't get your GPA up, like you're getting kicked out. And it was like, I graduated with a 2.04.
I mean, I had a 1.18 my freshman year of college. I got a B. I was able to turn it around to a 3.2 by the time I graduated.
Well, it's just so funny because my husband, he's like this. He's so smart, and you know, he graduated with like, if it wasn't a 3.9, it was a 4.0.
Yeah.
And, but I guess my focus was just elsewhere. But after I did graduate, I ended up doing the donut truck for 1 year, and decided that it was scaled up enough to where I was either going to have to franchise it out, and sell the business model itself, which was an idea. It's something I put a lot of thought into. Another option would have been to just get more trailers, but then I thought downside of that is having girls pulling trailers all over Texas, and that scared me tremendously as far as insurance purposes. I was
Right.
like, that's too much. Just too much risk involved for what it was. The third one was to open up a brick and mortar. And it would have been like a drive-through donut coffee shop kind of thing, like on the corner of Wellborn and University, which was like a top-notch corner in College Station, and which was going to be expensive. It's going to be upfront, drastically expensive. And the fourth option was to sell. And I was living in hotels all across Texas, and I was ready to settle down somewhere. And so I decided to sell.
So you could have settled if you chose the path of brick and mortar, but what was scary about that?
So what was scary about it was the cost of property in College Station itself, with it being literally smack dab next to the university. I mean, you're paying top dollar.
Talking about rent?
No, because I wouldn't rent.
Okay.
I was looking at purchasing corner.
Yeah, which is smart. I mean,
Yeah.
Own the asset, right?
I'm very big on owning the asset. I think if you're going to be paying towards something, make sure you're paying it towards yourself as opposed to not necessarily throwing it out the window. I definitely don't disagree with anyone who is renting. I just think there needs to be some sort of payoff at the end of it,
So at this point, when you're starting to try to figure out what your options are, how many total trailers do you have?
One. That's it.
One trailer. How many people are working for you?
There was when we were in the concessions, there was over 40.
Okay. And what were your annual revenues?
We're doing 200 a year.
200 a year with 80% profit.
Yeah.
So you're making $160,000 as a 24-year-old with a, low liability, low overhead business.
It was so low that it was almost funny.
And what was it valued at? Like, how did you figure out how to sell it, the cost of selling it?
So I will say, it was a very big cash business. I sold it for less than it was worth.
Did you realize that in hindsight or?
Yeah.
So what would you have done differently knowing what you know now? How would you have gotten maximum return on that?
Do it the honest way, in the right way.
What way did you do it?
Well, sometimes, if you're selling a donut and they're giving you $5 for thing of donuts, sometimes it didn't go in the register. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and a lot of things that you have the ability to do as a business owner, and a lot of things that you can, do you want the cash now or do you want the return on the investment?
So you were struggling proving the value.
I was struggling to prove the value.
Because you fell on your face?
I was hiding.
Oh, well, I mean, that is kind of a lesson though. Like
Yeah.
one of these, that is an example of falling on your face is not having accurate books.
Yeah, I didn't have accurate books.
Because how do you prove the value of something?
Yeah, very true.
Right? So that's a very hard lesson to learn.
I didn't have accurate books when I sold it. And so I sold it for $100,000. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could have done differently, you would have been better about tracking, having accountants, and treating it like a real business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was also in college and just blowing it.
Yeah, right.
I was having a ball.
Honest,
I was having a ball.
Like, you're young. When you're in your 20s, like you're the average female, her frontal lobe doesn't round off until like 25 years old. And for those wondering what the hell does that mean, like the frontal lobe is where your executive lives. It's where the person that like overrides the emotional.
I don't even know if she's there. I don't know if she's there at this point.
But like it's like where we have forethought and planning, and we can control our emotions, and we can choose to do the hard thing. Like that thing doesn't really start to round off until later. For men, it's like 29. You know, like it like, so like you're still
much
young.
later in the process.
Yeah, you're still young at this point, and you're successful, and you don't learn these things until later, like through living.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and so I sold it for less than what it was worth, for sure.
But still 24, 23 years old, graduating college, not in debt, but $100,000 of money that you earned. Like how many 23, 24-year-olds can say that?
I don't know.
Not many.
I hope there can be, because I want that for everyone, and I think it just takes like a lot of just like excitement for risk and just like a drive of absolutely failure like is not an option.
Right. Right. But the cool thing about starting at 18, 17 years old is you can fall on your face repetitively.
Yeah.
Like, and mom and dad are going to be there for, not for everyone, but for a lot of people. Like the time to fail is when you're young.
Yeah. And I did have supportive parents, you know, and I still do. They're still like, you know, able to give advice and stuff like that whenever I'm struggling with something, business or personal, whatever. But a lot of the lessons, you know, is like my dad would even ask me, so what are you going to do? Yeah. And it's like, let me remember, this is my problem and my business and my thing, you know? So, just like keep pushing forward on it. So,
So, you sell the business. What year is this?
End of 2019.
Okay. Where, like, what's going on in your life? Where are you in your life at this point?
I was, it kind of overlapped a little bit. I knew I was going to sell, and I had already sold the business, but I was in a contract with the lady that I owner financed the business to. I owner financed to a woman who was going to take the trailer down to like Corpus or South Padre Island area, which is South Texas on the coast. And I had like 2 months of events with her to show her, you know, the ins and outs, you know, a good, you know, transition from ownership. So I was helping her do that. Meanwhile, you know, I guess after the fact, my parents before then had said like, hey, come look at this building down here. This is when I knew I was going to sell. So
your parents were now living in flat.
They were living in like Lockhart area, which is right outside of Austin.
Okay.
And they were looking around all these tiny towns in this area, looking to open up because they were pretty much semi-retired at that point. So my mom always wanted to own a wedding venue, and so they were looking at all these historic buildings in these little towns around us, and they stumbled upon this one across the street from us here. And they bought it and renovated it and made it into a wedding venue. And they said, hey, Taylor, like, I know you're traveling all over, you know, the state doing, you know, your stuff, but why don't you come down and look at this building across from us? And I remember I was at an event and I was with the trailer and I drove down here after the event, and I drove Donut Darlin down and I pulled up, and the building was called the Darling Emporium. And I got chills and I had tears, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but something says that like I've got to be here. Like this is my building. Yeah.
So we're going back 7 years ago now.
Five.
This is not 2019, but 2021.
I opened this in 2020.
Okay, got it.
So it was end of 2019.
So going into 6, or just eclipse 5.
Yeah. So we COVID had not hit yet.
Right. When did you sign on this property?
I signed on this in February of 2020. It was right before COVID. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. But you say that, but here's what amazing happened. Like, so we signed on this building.
Well, you own the building.
Own the building. Mm-hmm.
So you purchased this, or did you have co-signers?
Again, Dad said, he goes, you paid me back for the first one.
Now you have credit with the bank.
Yep. And yeah, and I did. But I said, look, I don't want the down payment. Can we do this again? Can we make another business deal? Can I borrow the money? And I borrowed, we purchased the building for $225,000. This is like a 7,000 square foot building, historical, old, purchased the building, $225,000. And he said, yeah, I mean, you did it the first time, you can do it again.
Was his name on it?
This one.
These are very personal questions, and I want to recognize that I appreciate you being vulnerable and
yeah,
answering these questions.
Of course. Yeah, his name. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. No. I'm gonna say no. I want to say he gave me the money, and I wrote the check to the
bank. So he gave you a loan.
A loan. It's a personal loan is what it is, yeah.
And then you use that money to pay the bank or to...
Yeah. First purchase the building, and then secondly was that extra money that, the total loan amount that I had took out from my dad was also to not only renovate this place. He added on the cost of his labor as well too. So it wasn't necessarily like, hey, honey, here's $500,000. Like, it's just, there's a lot that went into it.
Kind of like vertical integration. Like, he's investing in you as the operator, and then you're contracting out his business.
I contracted out him to help me.
Right.
And so, February hits, we buy the building, COVID hits.
Wow.
And we have 7 months to renovate this place.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, at least in that first 7 months, everything shut down.
Everything shut down.
You're not losing money.
And we turned the entire downstairs into a restaurant, turned the upstairs into where I was going to be living.
Where we're currently sitting downstairs.
Yeah, currently sitting downstairs. Upstairs is a loft. So we turned it into this like New York style, 2,500 square foot, beautiful historic loft.
That's cool.
And I lived there for two full years. But then we opened I opened the restaurant in September of 2020.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So at that point, things had opened up.
The day before, Governor Abbott, which is, Texas governor, opened restaurants to 75%.
So, yeah, and that's more than most states at the time.
That's Texas.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sure everyone's chomping at the bit to get back to, like, seeing people. And there's this brand new spot in town that's
at
fully
this point,
renovated.
Everyone in this area was, like, dying for something to do.
Yeah.
So, I remember it was a Monday morning, and the line was wrapped completely around the block.
Wow. And you own it? So there's not like you're burning money on rents.
Nope.
So we said $223,000 is what?
$225,000 is what we purchased the building for.
How much did you need to put into it to get it open?
The total loan amount was $485,000.
$485,000. So all in about $600,000, $700,000.
No. That the $485,000 included the building itself.
Okay.
So it was what?
Got it.
$250,000,
so
$260,000
worth of renovations.
Yeah.
So what did it look like before?
It was pretty empty. So the bar over there is Dad and I built that.
Okay.
We had to pull out that wall and put in bathrooms. It was pretty much a shell. There wasn't a whole lot to it.
What was in here before?
It was a furniture store.
Okay.
More of like a antique. I don't even call it a storage, because what it was there was a phone number on the door, and it was like, hey, if you want to come in and look at these antiques and purchase something, give us a call. We'll meet you down here.
Space.
It's kind of like a holding space that you could shop if you called the number.
Got it. What were your biggest challenges? This is the first time.
Oh my God, this was the
big. Yeah.
This was so scary. I have never been so terrified. I remember the night before I opened, and I didn't sleep an ounce. I was so scared whether it was going to be busy or slow. Are we going to perform? Are we not? We still had no idea what we were doing. The cooks I hired were like straight out of high school. I was really good at the menu, really good at the back-ended stuff. And I know I'm good at selling, but like, were we going to perform that day? And we did not.
Well, I'm not surprised, not to say it, but nobody ever does
really
kill it on the first day.
No, first day was an utter disaster. It was 2-hour wait times.
Wow.
It was... every one of my staff members was in tears. Like, I get 40 tickets, 50 tickets on the board in the kitchen, and my cook is huddled in a ball, and he's just bawling.
Drama.
No, so much drama. And I wasn't helping because I'm crying too. And it was so bad. People were making pancakes in the shapes of like squares and rectangles.
You can go your own way.
It was.
I want to turn around.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I remember, and now we're way better at what we do here, but we're out of here by our hours are 8 to 2. We're out of here by 2:30, 3 o'clock at the latest.
4 hours then.
Yeah, and we were that day. It was midnight, and we were still washing dishes.
Wow.
Yeah. Just no systems, no. As prepared as you could have been, but not knowing what to expect whatsoever. So
I like to use this analogy of like shifting gears in a car. Was your Jeep an automatic or standard?
Automatic.
So standard.
Not that I can't drive a standard.
So you're in first gear, right? You're you're in first gear. Like what have been the second, third, fourth? Like how did you overcome these challenges?
Yeah. So there was another challenge about like 2 weeks or no, maybe 2 months after that. I had a bookkeeper here in town who was doing our books because that was something that I was very not familiar with. Obviously, I had just sold my business.
Good on you for outsourcing that immediately.
Yeah.
Restaurant owners, what if I told you there was a way to lower your prime cost by $1,000 month over month and get paid $1,000? That sounds like a deal too good to be true, but that's exactly the deal that Restaurant Systems Pro is offering 10 of my lucky listeners. So why are they doing this? Because they consistently help their clients get between 15 and 25% profit in their business. And when they approach new clients and say, I can do the same thing for you, they get met with a lot of resistance. And because it sounds too good to be true, most restaurants think if you do between 5 and 10%, you're doing good. So to hit 15 or 25%, like what do we have to sacrifice? What scam are you throwing at me, sir? No, thank you. But the truth is they really do help people hit these numbers. And the way they do it is by having all the most important systems that are tied to profitability fully integrated into an enterprise solution. I'm talking like counting, inventory, scheduling, checklists, training systems, general ledger, balance sheets, costing cards. So when you have all those systems dialed in, ironclad, tied, connected, fully integrated in an enterprise solution, you get data. And when you have data, you can make little tweaks here and there. And those little tweaks, you can see the fruits of your labor, the effects of your efforts. And that's how you hit 15 and 25% profit. And on top of all this, they also have support, which is unheard of in today's age. So you get all these things compounded that help you hit that 15 to 25%. And if I have your attention, keep listening. Join the Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge. And if you successfully improve your prime cost by $1,000 or more compared to the same 30-day period last year, they will pay you $1,000. If you're listening on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, find the show notes and we will have a link titled Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge. Click that link and get signed up today. Only 10 spots, guys. Do not wait. Get your spot, lower your prime costs by $1,000 and get paid that $1,000. They're actually calling this a reverse guarantee. Get on it.
And okay, so the next day we regrouped. We said, okay, this is how we're going to do this. I mean, I was up all night long, sending out messages of like, okay, everyone be here. We're going to have a team meeting at 6 a.m., and I'm going to walk us through every single one of these, problems that we're having. And we're just going to, it was just day 2 was, I wouldn't say a full 180, but astronomically better than the day before. 2 months later, I'm paying my dues with my food vendors. I'm paying my employees, of course. They're always the first to get paid.
So 2 months was how long it took you to kind of like really
2 months. I would say 2 months would be get it out. So
Yeah.
then second hurdle comes. My bookkeeper calls and he's like, hey, just want to let you know I'm about to take out the money for your payroll tax deposit. I said,
what?
I said, what is that?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I don't have any money in there. What are you talking about? And I'm crying, of course, in the backyard here. And I'm like, no, David, you can't do that. Can't do that. And he's like, Taylor, you have to.
Yeah,
I'm like, what do you mean? No one told me.
That's not your money.
It's not mine. It's not mine. Anyway, yeah, he took it.
So where did he take it from if you didn't have it?
No. I had it. It's all I had.
Oh, okay.
It's all I had.
Yeah.
Which was about...
That was 2 months in.
2 months in.
So that's not a huge amount of money.
No.
It wasn't hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No. It was like $3,000.
Right. But when you're a first time restaurateur, $3,000 is a lot of money when you're just...
Yeah. There was a lot of upfront costs and stuff. And I remember I was sitting over here at table 2 and crying again and talking to my dad. Like, I just didn't know. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I had no idea this cost. Like, I had no idea that payroll tax deposits was.
Well, here's the thing. If you didn't have a bookkeeper, if you didn't have a CPA or whatever right away, you wouldn't have figured that out until the IRS came a-knocking.
Yeah,
and it would have been months or a year in.
And then you're hundreds of thousands.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm very happy it happened. But I remember it was like a Thursday that I had about $1,000 in the bank account.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, if we don't, it was going into the weekend. I said, if we don't have a huge amount of customers this weekend, I don't know what I'm going to do. And we did. And we had a great weekend and the staff killed it and slowly started building the account. You know, was able to pay the staff, pay the payroll tax deposits, and pay the sales taxes.
Have you ever heard of Profit First? Mike Michalowicz. So Mike Michalowicz wrote this book, Profit First, and it's basically it's a cash flow management system where you take your profit first. So whatever, like what is the, like 10%, you want to make 10% profit. So if on every dollar you spend or earn, you take 10 cents of that and you put it in a profit account.
Yeah.
And then you also have accounts for tax. You have accounts for owner's pay.
Yeah.
You have accounts for, operational expense.
That'd be good. It's more like budgeting, really, for all of this.
So you have so the way it works is you have this income account. So you go to the bank, you say, I want to open up 5 checking accounts.
Yeah.
And you have an income account where all the money that comes in goes into that account. And then twice a month, you take money from that income account and you allocate it
Separate it out.
Yep. You allocate it to your profit first. You take that profit and then you put it into tax because that's not yours. You put 10% or whatever plus, sales tax plus like, what is the other one? Tips or whatever, like all the different,
there's so many of them.
Food tax.
Yeah.
So you allocate whatever that is and you put that there, and then owner's pay and operational expense. And operational expense, basically, you just say, what are my averages? And then you just put that money there. It's not going to be 100% every time in terms of accuracy, but you're allocating cash so that like you're not robbing yourself, like it's just such an easy way to manage your cash flow. It's the envelope system, but you're using checking accounts.
I would say I probably need to do something more along those lines. I downloaded a app to kind of help me budget in more of a business term. But the way that I look at it, which is not the healthiest way, do not take my advice on this, is if the bank account is growing, we're chilling. If it's going the opposite direction, we got to fix something.
Right.
And I know that's very type B of me to say, but that's just the way that I'm able to handle my finances, as well as run the business and run the boutique and all these things. So finances aren't necessarily my favorite part of the business portion.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, sister.
So to me, I'm like, as long as the number's going up at the end of each month, all expenses out.
Yep.
Then I'm chilling.
So I'm going to recommend this book, not to you, but to anybody who wants to hear this. So Casey Anton, Spark Business Consulting, she is a Profit First professional, meaning she has the blessings from Mike Michalowicz to teach Profit First.
Okay.
She wrote the book Profit First for Restaurants.
Okay.
It's an awesome listen. She's a very smart lady. She's in my network. If anybody's
do they have an
interested
audiobook? Because I don't read.
I'm the same way, and I do think that she recorded the audiobook. Yeah.
Okay,
so,
cool.
It's phenomenal. I think the best way to do it is to outsource to a fractional CFO or a CFO if you have the money, and to like use like a enterprise solution like Restaurant Systems Pro or Restaurant 365 and have somebody who knows how to use those systems onboard it and do all the work for you. But that's not necessarily an option for everybody.
It's not. It's expensive. I actually got into one of them, and it's more like a menu cost analysis program. I loved the idea of it. It's more of a program that really helps you pull up that bottom line a little bit.
What's it called?
It's called Margin Edge.
Oh yeah, Margin Edge, past sponsor of the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the program, but I noticed it being better for bigger companies. It wasn't necessarily something for us, small guys, us one location kind of type people down here. Expensive, and it did what you needed it to do, but to me, it was more for like a corporation, someone who owns, 10, 15, 20 locations as opposed to one location. So
why do you think that?
There was a lot of work and a lot of time needed to go into it. It wasn't something that you could just like set up and then walk away from, you know, and it was going to do the work for you. You know, it was something that you had to constantly keep up with. So it would have taken somebody to do the job of inventory and margin edges, as well as making sure training. I mean, there's a whole sector of it where we're training staff members to use 2 tomatoes at this width as opposed to 4 tomatoes, because now we just threw off the entire algorithm of what Margin Edge is trying to create. You know? Right.
Well, what Margin Edge is trying to do is to figure out what are your actual versus theoretical costs. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to measure and be consistent, and you know
the consistency just wasn't here.
Right.
You know?
It's a challenge.
It's a
real challenge.
Yeah.
And tools like that really put pressure on you to nail down those consistencies.
They do. And I loved the pressure of it. I more so was finding myself not having the time to put the work in for the program itself, which it deserved. Like, I saw great things about that. I just knew that I couldn't keep up with that portion.
I will say good on you for not paying for a tool that you're not going to use.
Yeah.
Because if you're not using it, then it's not going to help you.
No.
And it's going to increase your operational costs.
Well, it's expensive. And I really wanted to invest into it and kind of invest in myself and know that, okay, if I'm paying this much a month for Margin Edge, then I can probably be saving that much a month in the amount of food costs that I am wasting and or over portioning.
Right.
You know,
it will pay for itself if you use it religiously.
If you do what it's meant to do, it'll pay for itself. Perfect world.
Right.
Yes. In reality, for us, it wasn't that. We weren't able to keep up.
I appreciate the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Vulnerability. So where are we today? 4 years in, you're talking about, evolving. It took you about 2 months to figure it out. You learned your hard lessons of not allocating cash flow to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
You had a bookkeeper to catch that.
Yep.
You outsourced to a bookkeeper early on.
Yeah.
That's where we kind of left off. Take us along this path of evolution, reflecting back to that person 3 years ago.
She was a mess.
Who are you today? Like what was the next point of evolution and growth for you?
Yeah. So every year, the rest of that year, we got better and better. And then towards the end of our first year, we're coming up on our year 1, and all of a sudden this lady walks in the door and she hands us a plaque that says that we won Best Breakfast in Fayette County.
Were you aware that you were in the running?
Nope.
Wow.
I had no idea what it was.
And that's right behind you right
now,
right? 2023? 2021.
It had been 2021, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. 5 years running. Is that all Best Breakfast?
All Best Breakfast. Some of them are Best Brunch. Some are Best Unique Restaurants. But definitely Best Breakfast every year.
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
And I had no idea that was a thing. I remember I was like, this is so cool. And I can't believe we made it this far. Just to even get Best Breakfast in the county. That's just wonderful. And I'd say the most lessons that I've learned along the way too, and the most growth really comes from employees. Learning how to manage employees and how to treat people differently, and cater to different personalities, as well as still get the same outcome from what you're needing from them.
How did you lead then?
I've always thought my best way is to lead by example. So if a new employee walks in and he sees that the owner's washing dishes, then he's going to wash dishes, and me supporting them, giving them leash, giving them, some, what's it called? Some rope, but just, in the backhand, just like knowing that if I'm willing to do it, then they should be willing to do it. And if she's this supported, if this owner is this supportive of me as an employee and understands whenever I need a break or I had a bad day or something, and not to hold it against them. But we've been through some employees for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some good and bad experiences.
Welcome to the restaurant industry.
Yeah, man. Restaurant industry is no joke when it comes to staffing. It's pretty funny when other people from different industries ask me, how many employees have you had? And when I tell them, they're like, holy
yeah.
I'm like, I swear it's not me. I swear.
You're pretty pleasant. So that's how when I said, how did you lead then?
Oh, lead then. I think I said them.
No, how did you lead then? So like how have you grown as a leader?
Oh, that's a great question. I was saying just having more patience, and understanding, as well. I would say I've always led by example, having more patience and understanding, but also being true to like a disciplinary thing. So it's kind of just like setting an example out of something that's happened bad. And I could, give an example of like an employee, not showing up for work. And instead of me letting that slide, I have to make that an example. Otherwise, other staff members will say like, this is acceptable and I can do this as well too.
Culture isn't what you say it is. It's what happens every day.
Yeah. And,
so if you're letting it happen, that's your culture.
Yeah. And I think, it's so cliche when you say like, we're a family here and stuff, but it's so fun when customers come in and go, everyone here is having such a good time. And everyone here is smiling, cleaning tables and laughing, taking out the trash, and they're all on their hands and knees cleaning booths, and they have their booty popping music on after work, and everyone's just like dancing and cleaning, and it is, when you take a step back and look at that, and it's like we've created an environment here where we do want to go have a drink together after work. We do want to invite them to my kids' birthdays parties because they are my employees, but there is a fine line between an employee and friends. And I do walk that line quite a bit. But man, I have such a good staff here and they're so cool. And I appreciate them. Yeah.
These are relationships. You can't do it without them. They are your community.
Oh my gosh. And they do wonderful. And yeah, I couldn't thank them enough.
I think when you're in a city and there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that you can pull from to come work for you, like, and if you're scaling and there's this line, as you scale, there's more liability. But in a small town, how many people live in this town?
So 1,300 was our last census, was 13.
Yeah. These are the people that it's much smaller, it's much more intimate, and it's much more human.
It is. And everybody. And I would say a few of the weekend, I call my weekend girls because they're all in high school, that like half of them are all related somehow. And I don't even know that they're related until like 2 weeks in. And they're like, oh yeah, that's my mom's sister's cousin. Like, it's just, and everyone's related. And it's just, it's a fun community. And everyone knows that when they walk in the door too, like, oh, we're going to Darlin's today. Like, it's going to be not just a good breakfast, it's going to be a fun time. Like, we're going to have a great morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So when we started today, you said you're doing 20% profit.
Mm-hmm.
You have I think it was a 20% cost of goods and 30% labor cost.
Mm-hmm.
Are you have you peaked in terms of hitting those numbers? Have you gotten better and better and better? Or have you hit those numbers a while ago and now you're kind of flatlined?
I feel like we're kind of flatlining a little bit at the moment. Whenever I look at the numbers and I see that, over 3 years, we've kind of made the same amount. I don't necessarily think that's bad, but also stagnant is to me is not growth. It's sometimes I want to account it to labor cost has gotten higher over.
The cost of business is going up.
Cost of business is ridiculously higher than it.
So your profit margins are going to be lower.
Profit margins are a little bit lower, and so I wouldn't necessarily, when we look at the sales, like gross sales, it's better every year. So it's not the sales themselves, it's the bottom line.
Cost of goods, cost of labor.
All
the good thing that you own this property.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you said you're doing 20% profit. If you were in any average market with average rent, you would want to be doing 7% is the target to hit for occupancy cost. So you have that 7% that can go to your bottom line, which was putting you at 20% profit.
Yeah,
and it's only going to continue to go up. The costs are only going to continue to go up.
And I will say, there is a downside of owning your own. Right now I'm paying for a new roof, new roof repair.
So how do you manage that? Do you allocate cash for improvements?
There's always a nest egg, or what do you call that? Like a rainy day fund.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is a rainy day fund for sure. And it can be a lot there. I mean, there's everything in here is expensive as far as replacing goes. We've replaced an oven. I've replaced the roof. Not replaced the roof. I've had the roof repaired. This will be my third time now.
Wow, in 5 years?
In 5 years.
Wow.
It's a historic building, and it's just old. Everything here is old, and it's cool from an outside perspective from a customer. And then when you own one, you're like, oh my God, what is
Good
going
thing you know
on?
somebody, right?
Yes,
You
I know
have that
someone.
background.
Yes, have the background. And I contract out all the work myself as well too. So, but
When you say you contract the work out yourself, what does that mean? What do you mean?
hiring the trades,
Okay,
you know.
got it.
Yeah. So that's what I went to school for, is basically general
That's a
contracting.
huge skill to have in this industry.
See, that seems like normal. It seems like, I don't know. You got to know who to call. Like, you know, if your AC goes out, you're
Right.
calling, you know. But we have everyone out here there. I mean, this is a small Texas town. I mean, there's trades all over the place.
Right.
And so, and they're all on speed dial because
Right.
there's things breaking down all the time.
So where are you today? How many employees do you have?
18.
18 total employees. How many of that is back of house?
It's about half and half.
And are you included in that number?
No.
So 9 and 9. What is your organizational structure? Do you have like titles and roles?
Yeah, I've got one. I hired my first chef in 5 years. And I usually just hired line cooks. And I said, you know, this wonderful guy came through, and he said, I am a chef, and I wanted to interview for the position, for the line cook position. And I said, okay, man, I've never hired a chef before. I know it's going to be expensive, but it's going to take a weight off my shoulders that I need so bad, with mainly being front of house, myself being front of house, as well as pretty much the sole person in the boutique, doing all the inventory and the retail and the sales and all of it. So I took a chance and I hired a chef, and I will say that was one of the best decisions I've made in a very long time. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's a true distinct difference between somebody who does this for a living and knows what they're doing and loves it, and then someone who is never had the experience before, but is willing to try.
Where did you go to learn all these things and how to run a restaurant? Because you were doing a food trailer before, but it's not quite the same.
Definitely not the same.
Where did you go to learn? Did you hire a consultant? Did you have trade resources? Like, how did you know about inventory and costing and purchasing? Where did that come from?
That just makes sense, right?
Yeah, I guess. But
I never learned it from anywhere.
Systems, processes, procedures. Like, how did you know what to charge a pancake?
Well, I took the cost of what I was gonna.
You'd be surprised. That's not like a lot of people don't know that to do that.
I have so I went on Excel and I went through everything that I purchased, and I created like a cost analysis margin sheet.
Yeah.
So I and I do this every year. So we're coming out with a new menu. So what I do is I go through and I say, what is, 2 ounces of cheese plus an ounce of lettuce plus, 2 ounces of tomato, add all that up. What does it cost me? Oh, it cost me $3 to make this plate.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to.
Right. I guess I was just curious, like, what was where'd you go to learn this stuff? To see if there was like a coach or a
I didn't know there was anyone that taught it.
Oh yeah. Ton. I mean, a lot of people, I'll not to throw my parents under the bus, right? But back in 1988, they didn't have a lot of resources to go learn this stuff. My dad went to the breakfast restaurant and then the next town over to see what are they charging for a burger. I'll just charge $1 or less, and I think a lot of people, they get in trouble because they don't know what the true cost is. They just make numbers up. And
you definitely have to know the true cost of it. And that's kind of like the fun of it, just knowing that what you're putting on a plate and selling somebody, that you're making money off of it. I mean, you have to, otherwise what's the point of this whole thing?
Yeah.
So
you're sitting across the table. We've been talking almost about an hour and a half, almost. What do I need to ask you if I'm getting the most out of this conversation? Like, what is the thing you want to talk about? What do you think that you can add the most value to our listeners?
My biggest thing in owning a restaurant, and I guess the thing that I get the most kind of gratitude and like satisfaction out of is when people do message me. Our social media has gotten bigger over the last few months, and we're pretty much kind of capitalizing on that. And I've really liked to use the platform not only for entertainment, but for an educational purpose. And I've told a couple of these stories on my social media that I've spoke with you today as well. And it's really cool when people message me and they ask me, what should I do when it comes to this? Or what do you think about this idea? The thing that makes me the happiest in the world is inspiring others to do something that they truly love to do, because then our life is so purposeful, and we're not just going to work to pay for the things that we love to do outside of work. Going to work is a vacation. Like, it is fun. It is.
So people are asking you business advice on
social media. Yeah.
Where do you go to learn how to do social media better? Like, what's your inspiration there?
I don't know. I think I'm just really good at marketing.
I think you are. You definitely have an eye. This place is beautiful.
Thank
the branding's really spot on. Your website, I was on your Instagram page earlier. I don't know if this is completely random. Maybe it's a trend.
Mm-hmm.
That one Instagram reel where you're training somebody on how to do the latte. Were you the first one to do that? Or did you see somebody else do that and you like?
So, okay. I don't know if you even see, like, I guess it's the same in a ton of industries or whatever, but whenever you get on like TikTok or something, that there's trends. Yeah. I saw one person do it.
Okay.
And I think we were the second ones to do it.
I wonder, because I literally saw it like a week ago or maybe more.
Us?
I don't know. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out. I was like, what are the odds?
But whenever you look at it, it had like 7, almost 8 million views or something on it. I don't know if it was that one or another one, but it literally blew up. And I had seen one other person do it. And to me, when I see another person do it, I'm automatically thinking it's a trend. And so sometimes when we make content, we do things that are our own stuff. And then other times the staff will send me like, hey, let's do this today. And usually it's a trend that they saw on TikTok or something. And I'll say, okay, we'll post it. Because a lot of our followers that are out here in this small town Texas don't necessarily have TikToks. So whatever we post is brand new to them. They have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I just thought to myself, like, what are the odds that I see this random reel?
Yeah.
And at the time I would have been like in Massachusetts.
I bet you was. I mean, that thing blew up.
When did you post this?
Gosh,
you have it pinned.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I have it pinned. It's that middle.
January 17th.
Yeah.
So that was around the time I hit the
6.6
road
million.
on like the 20th. And I think I think I saw this. I don't know if it's what are the odds that I literally stumble into.
Look at that first pin.
The diner, not realizing.
Yeah.
I didn't look at your Instagram until I was sitting here having breakfast.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It blew up. And what I've noticed on social media, which is pretty funny, is people like things that are aggressive and shocking.
Like getting a coffee thrown into your face?
Yes. Yes. Those are the ones that have exploded, are ones that are like pretty much shock value.
So you started getting into your philosophy or your approach to social media. It's not just you, your team gets in on it.
Oh, it's a whole bonding thing for all of us. We love making content
take us
together.
into that, like your process and how you approach social media.
Yeah. So one of those things where, you see something stagnant, or, the bottom line, you're looking at sales and you're like, okay, well, maybe we can get, our customers on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, it's packed. Sundays is about an hour-long wait for a table. So I know we can't seat any more people in here. So it's not necessarily that. But, hey, Monday through Friday, we got some empty seats. We could probably fill those if we just spread our social media a little bit further. And instead of, then I think, what do I like seeing on social media? Well, I like scrolling entertainment, whether it's restaurant, whatever, just entertainment, not necessarily like, hey, try our new coffee. It's good. Like, or not.
We want to laugh.
A picture of, I want to laugh. I love I love entertaining and comedy and hosting and those things. And that's the route we went, and it worked.
I mean, I think a lot of people struggle with getting into the right mindset when it comes to social media. I'm guilty of this.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy creating social media content.
Really?
Yeah. I think part of my issue is that I'm a solo act.
Yeah.
I don't have people I can bounce ideas off of. You hold the camera, like let's, it's always fun with a partner. It's always more fun with a partner. So like, I think part of my issue is like, I'm just being a solo act. I'm like, it's a chore. It's like, what am I going to do?
It definitely can be that
by myself.
And it was a chore before the entertainment. So before the entertainment route that we went, before it was like, posting pictures of girls, wearing our new outfits, or, a new hat, or like some inventory or whatever. And that was a chore. It was just like exhausting and like, oh my God, I have to post something today.
So how do we avoid that trap of it being exhausting and being work? How do we make it fun?
Well, if it's exhausting, then no one's going to enjoy it anyway.
Right.
So no, it's not going to get that. You're just doing it because you feel like society says you have to. and the workplace says that if you don't post this many times a week, then your social media is not going to be doing well. If you are having a blast doing it, it is going to show through the camera.
Yeah.
Which I see, you loving this.
I love the talking real, and
well, that's why this is so successful.
Yeah. I do feel like sometimes with social media, I don't want to dance in front of the fucking camera. That's just, to me, and no offense to people who do like to dance, but I don't like to dance. No. So don't make me dance.
No, we like doing, pretty aggressive stuff.
But you like it and it's fun, then more power to you.
Yeah. But it shows through the camera and people are like, oh my God, what is this place doing? This is wild. Which I think is important.
Yeah, I think that authenticity of having fun and it's not forced, it's not a checklist.
Yeah.
Really, it shows. You guys have a blast and you're you're having fun. It's clear that you're having fun. Anything that you want to make sure we talk about today before we start to shift gears and talk about the future?
I think we've kind of covered it. I mean, personally, along with, Solid de Sol, which is our boutique here, and the Darlin's Diner, and then Lula's Loft upstairs, which is our catering and event business. I have a daughter and a son, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I've got a husband. He's the fire chief in our town here. He owns his business, his own business as well. He is a freight broker.
Oh, cool.
And I'm on our Economic Development Corporation board here in town, as well as we're in a band together, which is pretty fun.
You got a lot going on. We got band practice today in less than an hour.
No, it's fine.
All right,
we'll be
so
there. Mm-hmm.
we'll break down pretty fast when we wrap this up.
You'll be fine.
But I got to be honest, it's all kind of serendipitous that I'm here right now.
Yeah.
I literally just yesterday was like, where am I sleeping tonight? I open up the Harvest Host app, and again, if any of you don't know what Harvest Host is,
it's a great program.
It's so cool.
It.
And I just found this one spot in between Houston and San Antonio, and I was like, oh, it's in a little old dusty town.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me go check that out. Got here. This town is adorable.
It's cute.
It's a really cool old bones town.
Yeah.
You can tell there's history here. I was walking around. I saw this place. I was like, this place, I wouldn't expect to see this here.
Yeah, it's definitely something you would think you'd see. Well, I guess, not into a tiny Texas town. It looks a little bit more urban.
And I was thinking to myself, there's so many of these towns across America. And I see them when I drive. And honestly, I've probably driven past most of them.
Yeah.
Because the highways make us bypass these towns.
Yeah, it does.
You don't know they're there. That's a big issue in part of our, the Route 66 was a happening road. And then they built the highways, and all these stops along the way, these small towns started to struggle. But the thing is, there's so many great bones in this country of towns just waiting. Our mission statement is to inspire, and you've inspired us with your story.
Thank you.
To empower with, sharing mindset and lessons learned, and don't do this, do this. And then there's the transform, which is where are we going?
Yeah.
And I think there's so much opportunity in these small towns where you can go and buy the building for $235,000.
I think I got so lucky with that because it's not that anymore,
Right. But there's other markets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Across America in the Midwest, the Midwest is on fire right now. And there are so many places. And everybody post second industrial age, going into the 20th century, everyone had to leave their small towns to go to the big cities because that's where the opportunity was. And the pendulum has swung in that direction. And I think it's swinging back.
It is, because we have so many people, mostly middle-aged people that are coming out, and, they'll walk in the diner and they'll say, we just moved here. We had to get out of Houston, or we had to get out of San Antonio or Austin, and we love this area. We just bought some property out here. We're going to build, or we just bought this little house and we're going to sell that after we build on this property. And we're looking at land and all this stuff out here. And it's a different way of life that I've tried to convince some of my girlfriends to invest in. And I haven't been quite lucky enough yet to convince them to move to a small town. But once you do, it is so cool.
It's so weird because if you're alive today, all you know is that cities have always existed.
Yeah.
But the truth is, they're relatively a new invention. Cities as we know them today.
Yeah.
New York's, Los Angeles, never before in history have so many people lived so close to each other, on top of each other, literally.
It's just too much. I feel like you're kind of in the like hustle and bustle and like the grind, and you're working for the man. And to me, it's just like all of that just doesn't even coexist with what my beliefs are. And mine is just like going at my own pace. And even though my pace is really fast, it's still in my own bubble, that I don't have to worry about, traffic and just all the things that people are normally adjusted to.
Right.
I drive to Austin, and as soon as the roads start crossing over each other, I'm freaking out. Like,
right.
I cannot go. My husband, he's like, pull over. I need to drive before we all die in this car. So it's just different, very different. And I would suggest small town over city living any day.
This pace of life is much more aligned with how we evolved over tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, a million years of how we evolved to exist with smaller communities, closer relationships.
It's pretty awesome.
There's so much space in this country, and it's empty.
It is empty, and everyone wants to live on where everyone else is. And I get it. Some people are different. Some people may love the city, but I wanted out of the biggest town I've ever lived in, being College Station. Yeah. I wanted out as fast as possible. And I'm so happy I did small town life instead.
So you said you're on the board?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So get into that. I think, like, what, for anybody listening to this who's in small town, I truly do believe that the restaurant industry is going to change the world.
Aww.
And that's my mission, is to change the world through inspiring, empowering, transforming the industry.
Everyone's got to eat every day.
If you can transform restaurant owners transform communities, and that is literally happening in this community. I can tell the market across the street, what you're doing here. The restaurants are going to be the first ones to take a gamble on that space, to revitalize it, to bring life back to it, to bring community back to it. It starts with restaurants. Do you know that when we were colonizing I know that's a very sensitive word right now, colonization, but when we were colonizing America, the first thing you needed to do to start a business, the first thing you needed to do to start a town was to establish a public house. Pub. It was
community. Food.
That was the center of everything, not a church.
This is the center of town. And I say that humbly. Like, the diner is, like, everyone says, that is the hub. If you want to know the gossip, if you want to know the
That's
dirt.
when I grew up, and my parents owned a breakfast place.
Yes, and one of my latest posts, it says, we're pretty much therapists. It's so true. Like, and we just get to just listen to all the stuff and just make friends. And everyone that comes in here, on the weekdays, you've seen 90% of the faces, and everybody coming through those doors. On the weekends, you don't know a single face, because they're all travelers. They're all off of I-10. They're all people like you.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I'm curious about before we wrap up, is like, what advice do you have for people trying to transform their community? And I think we transform these communities, we can change the world, but how do we do it?
Get involved, take risks. I love being me and my husband both put a ton on our plates as far as what we're involved in our community. But just the more connections you make, and the more, I guess you could say, networking, even though I don't necessarily love that word, but just the more connections you can make with people, and the more friends that you can establish, just the more support that you have in doing something that you absolutely love to do. And I feel like that's what we've created here. When we first got here, we were kind of like the outsiders. Like, who does she think she is, coming in our town and building some restaurant? And now it's like those same people come in, and they're like, I'm so happy you're here, and I'm so thankful that you came in and did this, because this place is a blast. Yeah. So
I am kind of curious a little more. I think Harvest Host could be a great marketing tool that not a lot of people is even on their radar. Like, again, like, highways span across this country.
Yeah.
I would have never known Flatation. Am I saying
Flatonia?
Flatonia. I would have never known Flatonia existed if not for Harvest Host pulling me off the highway, literally less than a mile off the highway, into this cute little town.
Well, that's honestly what we do at EDC on our Economic Development Corporation Board is how do we get people off the highway? And that's pretty much our biggest topic all the time, is that we need to get these people off the highway, because this place is worth it when you get in here. Harvest Host is a really good example of doing just that.
I didn't even know I was talking to your mom when I requested to stay in your parking lot across the street over there. So your mom it was her idea to list Flatonia.
Well, because they travel a lot too. They've traveled, the whole U.S. and
did the camper thing too.
They did the camper thing, and they've stayed at the Harvest Host was such a fun thing for them to do, and they got to see all these small towns across America. So when Mom, got back from it was like a 2-month trip that they had gone on. They were gone for a while. It seemed like forever. And she said, Flatonia's got to do Harvest Host. It's one of the ways that we can get people off the highway. And I will say, every Harvest Host that we've had, so I guess my mom and I are both hosts on the Harvest Host. She does all the communication. But I've got to meet every single one of them that come in the diner. And man, it is so cool to meet people from just the other side of the country, just doing, traveling.
How much revenue would you say that has brought into your business?
It's fairly new. I don't necessarily know how long Harvest Host has been around, or if it's
at least a couple of years.
Okay, so it's still fairly new though. I mean, we only have, I would say it's like one a week.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily something. We've had 2 this week. You being one of them, and the other one being this awesome couple from Virginia. And I sat and I talked to them for hours, and the freeze had just come in, and so we had just opened on Monday. And they came in, they're like, thank God, we were stuck in that trailer for like 2 days.
But it spreads the word, and then they get out and they talk to people. If you're ever going through, if you're driving from Houston to San Antonio, make sure you stop in Flatonia.
There you go. You got it.
Did I get it right that time? And now I'm the second person this week, but you're on a podcast now.
I know, it's crazy.
And you're getting all this, my target market is restaurant owners. But still, it's amplifying. And I just think that there's so many cool things out there. And I just thought this was a really, how do we start today's conversation? You can go your own way.
Yeah.
And I hope you think about going in the direction of small towns across America.
Please do. Yeah.
Because there is, I think, a movement happening.
Don't forget about us, because it's way cooler down here, I promise.
Yeah. And there's tools that we can use with the internet to be discovered. I think Harvest Host is an untapped resource.
It is pretty awesome. And I've met some of the coolest people through Harvest Host.
Yeah.
And I will welcome every single one of them that come through.
And it's honestly just freaking cool
to
know that I can, go to a community, go to a farm, go to a winery, and support local business.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to go feed myself. I might as well, or I could pay to go park someplace. You might as well kill 2 birds with one stone and give that money back to a local business.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really cool what that platform's doing. And I just saw this as an opportunity.
And it's all free.
Yeah. And it gives back, and it's it's so cool. So anyway, this has been so much fun.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions before we wrap it up officially. What is one thing about your business, a value, a process, a system that's truly, unique and makes you unstoppable?
I would say the energy it puts off. I know that seems different, maybe of people are more so focused on the food. I know our food's good. Our food's good. It's a staple. We're in small town Texas. We're not necessarily trying to make some culinary revolution here. We're just trying to serve great food and great service, but the energy that we serve our food with and the lasting impressions that we make on people, not hopefully just keep them to come back to eat. I feel like it's so much more than eating. For us, it's an experience, and it's inspiring, and that's what I want to do.
I love that. Mm-hmm. The mission statement is to change the world through inspiring, empowering, and transforming the industry. How have you personally transformed? For transforming people across the country, we want to know, how are you a better woman today than the woman you were when you got started?
Gosh, I've learned from so many good days and bad days, and really the experience alone is what it takes, and pushing through just some really hard times and times that we think it's all going to be over, and we'll have bad days to come as well too, but just kind of pushing through those, as well as every day choosing to suck a little less, you said earlier.
I can't take credit for that. It was actually Pete Mora from Pete's Fajita, or Fajita Pete's. He said that was his opening quote.
Suck a little less. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to start using it.
I know, it was a good one. Here's the last question before I have you call somebody out. If you got the news, you'd be leaving this world tomorrow. Mm-hmm. All the memories of you, your work, and your restaurants would be lost with your departure. With the exception of 3 pieces of wisdom you could leave behind for the good of humanity and your legacy, what would those 3 pieces of wisdom be? It's heavy.
That is heavy.
And while you think about that, I'm going to do a selfie.
Love what you do, because if you love what you do when you're working, then you're not at work at all. and we spend most of our time on this earth working. So why not make it just the most pleasurable experience?
You see me struggling over here.
That's pretty bad.
I need a longer thumb. I'm trying to hit your face.
You're recording.
Oh my God, we'll do this later. That was one. What's number two?
2 would be treat everybody with how you would want to be treated, and give that kind of respect to staff, whether it's like, subordinate or people that work for you, and just empowering those people to have a great outlook and try to have the same love for your business as you would. So
what's number 3?
Number 3, you should only have 2 of these. This is hard. This is a deep one. This is all revolving around owning a restaurant, right?
Yes.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be just round. Like any life advice that ripples throughout all parts of life. Go your own way.
Yeah, end it there. Go your own way. Yeah, go your own way. No, just for real, just take a risk and do it. If you believe that you can do it, then you can absolutely win in every single aspect of your life. And I think it takes a lot of guts and a lot of risk. And that's honestly the fun part of it, though, is just like risking
no reward
everything.
if you don't take a risk.
Absolutely,
right? This has been a lot of fun. I broke my rules today. I usually try to stick with journalistic referral-based interviews, but I sometimes a good opportunity lands in my lap, and I'm trying to be more open to
I appreciate you doing so.
The universe, and I think it's really cool what's happening here, and I think I was meant to land here today.
Thank you.
To share your story and to make an example of what you're doing in a small town. And I think success is relative.
Yeah.
I think American culture, like we think of success as how big can you get, how much money can you make, how much power can you have. But I think when you go your own way and you value things like relationships and balance, and
there's a lot more to it than the money. I mean, if I wanted to, we could go open another restaurant. Right. We could scale it if you wanted to, but like there's more to it than that, and I think true success lies in the absolute passion that you have for what you're doing.
Right, 100%. So who do you respect and admire? Who is somebody that you look up to in the industry? Somebody that, if you could get into their head, understand how they run their business.
Yeah.
Who is that?
I have it for you. His name is Marty Bryan, and he owns Marty Bees. And it's up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Ooh.
That guy is so inspiring. He is an old friend of my parents. And he used to be a manager of Outback whenever I was a kid. He was a general manager of an Outback. And then he moved over and was a general manager, or maybe he owned Cotton Patch, or was like a franchise owner of Cotton Patch. And then he went out on his own and he opened up Marty Bees. And it is one of the most successful empires I have ever seen.
And that's Marty Bryan?
Marty Bryan.
Bryant?
Bryan.
Bryan. Look out, Marty Bryan. I am coming after you. I'd love to get you on the show. And how can we connect with you? Whether we listen to this episode and we have questions, or we want to come or follow you on social media to get inspiration. Like, what's the best way to connect and follow?
Really, our Instagram is darlins.diner. I have TikTok as well as Facebook as well.
All the same handle?
Instagram's the only one that's different. I don't know why I messed up when I first opened the restaurant.
Here's a lesson. Make all of your handles exactly the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't.
Yeah. Instagram is darlins.diner. The rest of them are at Darlin's Diner.
Got it. And we'll link to that. This is episode 1253. As long as nothing changed. So you can hit, if you want to find today's episode, look at the show notes right there. And we'll have those links there. And I cannot do what I do without people like you opening up, getting vulnerable, sharing information. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
Thank you so much. This was really fun and a huge surprise for me today. So I appreciate
surprise
you.
for me too. I'm happy we did it. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks.